few months ago, I met somebody and he said, like, hey, you're not doing that show on SFM any longer. Now you know, okay? I'm like, no. And you were hosting that other show on TV called Special Assignment. You're not doing it anymore. I said, no. I said, okay. Why don't you go and work abroad, man? Work for Al Jazeera. Work for CNN. Bro, you're good. You're world class. You learn dollars. And it's safer. Live in a compound. Just cool. And it's funny when someone says that to you, your reaction sums up your purpose on it. I'm like, I appreciate what you say about me. And you can never say never, okay? But the reality is, if I have to do well in all the places you mentioned, then I would be helping those countries, isn't it? Yeah. I said, well, let me tell you something. The thought of doing well under the flag of another country freaks me out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it. And that in essence is really why I'm here, okay? So I want to give you two scenarios. Scenario one, and I hope I can remember all this. Scenario one is an organization that should be world class, I would think, right? But in recent weeks, this organization has been in a bit of a mess. You had a situation where the leadership has been so problematic that many of the boards of directors have stepped down, 1, 2, 3 maybe. Then there's been a sponsor that's pulled out of assisting that organization. Then we've had a situation where people involved in reporting on that organization have been banned from attending events for that organization. Then we've had calls for the CEO of that organization to be kicked out. All that's happened in the last few days. And yet that organization has got people who have worked in that organization that would be seen as world class, and I really mean world class in their space. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Cricket.
Cricket, South Africa. So that's scenario one, right? Scenario two is another organization. They compete against some of the other big organizations in the world, and they get hammered like about a year ago. They're completely hammered. And it forces a major rethink in terms of what they do. So they kick out people, they get a new guy to lead them, because they get hammered against their biggest competitor. So they get a new guy to lead them. That guy appoints another new guy to lead his comrades and make sure things work out well. They're different, they look different, they speak different languages. Some are thick, some are mar, some are fat, some are thin, some are tall, some are short, whatever. They all come together and they stick around and they say, hey, we want to be world class. And like, you guys have got the audacity to be world class when you are just useless based upon how you messed up against your biggest competitor like 1 year ago. How dare you want to be world class? Anyway, they make their changes, they come together, they spend 6 weeks together, not on holiday, in a place called Japan, and they win a World Cup. You know which team I'm talking about, or which organization I'm talking about? Yes, you do. And of course, those two key appointments, Rassie Erasmus and Siya Kolisi, and of course the rest of that Springbok team. So those are two different scenarios, okay? Just bear with me, I want to give you more scenarios. So, you may ask yourself, what do they have in common? I mean, those two scenarios. And as I ask you that, you may say, they're both sport. Bullshit, they're not just sport. What they have in common, the losing scenario in scenario one, and the winning scenario in scenario two, is they both are run by people. People are absolutely core in terms of what they both have achieved or not achieved. So if you reflect then on the history of the world, and I'm not going to mention every country or civilization, but think about it. From the civilization in Timbuktu, the Malian civilization, to Great Britain, to the people of Ghana, the Ashantis, and the Aztecs, and the Zulu kingdom back home, and the Ottoman Empire, and the Roman Empire, what they all have in common is they've risen and fallen on the basis of the people who've led them. At some stage or the other, these people came together that made them great, and at some stage or the other, these people or other people came together and messed up big time. And as a result, all their great empires crumbled. No question about it. So when that happens, and if you go back to your sporting analogy, when you watch a sporting, let's say a soccer team make a mess, what do you do as a spectator? What do we all do as spectators when you're in a stadium and your team's not playing well? What do we do? Well, okay, some of you swear. The majority in the stadium, they do this. It's a South African thing, isn't it? We call for substitutions. But here's the problem. You can do that in soccer, and you can do that maybe in rugby. Not so much in cricket. I'll tell you what happens when your team is not playing well, but you playing in the same team? Do you still call for substitutions? Because let's take South Africa now. Eskom's gone to stage 4, just so that you know that today, okay? And we're talking about a good news country. There's a certain reality. So when we reflect on many of the problems in our country, from Eskom to crime to poor leadership to poor education, and I can go on and go on. In sporting terms, we'll call for the substitution. In South African country terms, we have to think about it that we actually playing in that team. Because the reality is, when it comes to your country, when it comes to your South Africa, in fact, you're in the team the moment you're born, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. I'm going to speak a bit about Afrikaans from elders, whether you smaak it or whether you don't smaak it. You're in the team. And nobody cares whether you say, but I'm South African, but. Ask anybody in the world and you show them your passport, oh, you're from South Africa. That's it. So you're in the team, okay? So if you're in the team and your team is underperforming, then it's one thing calling for substitutions, it's another thing understanding that you yourself has got to up your game for yourselves to be able to lift your team of 57 million people to win the biggest match of them all. And here's the question, what is the biggest match of them all? So I am driven by this image, and I want to plant the seed into your minds. People in front, people right at the back, people not here, because you need to share this message. It's like lekker, it's a bit nah to win the Rugby World Cup. It's cool, okay? We haven't won the Soccer World Cup, we haven't won the Cricket World Cup, and I can talk about other things as well. But the World Cup I want my country to win is the World Cup that doesn't quite exist at the moment. It's the World Cup where the United Nations Secretary General will stand up and he or she will say, and this trophy goes to the winning nation, or the nation judged the finest nation on earth. And I want to award this World Cup to, of course, you can say it aloud, come on. Absolutely. I want to give it to South Africa. Now that's the World Cup I really want to win. That's why I'm part, and I'm very much the chief driver of a movement called Champion South Africa. It's a movement that exists to shift people from the mid-table nation that we are to the champion nation we can become. Or alternatively, if all of us decide, now we just want to be useless, then to shift South Africa from the mid-table nation that we are to a junk status nation that others would like us to be. But I don't want to be there. I want to be, some people even celebrating that we don't want to be junk status, that's good. I want to be in a situation where we shift ourselves so that we say we're not junk status South Africa, we champion South Africa. It's not just a state of mind. It's not just an action, it's an end goal. Champion South Africa sounds a lot better than junk status South Africa, don't you think?
Yes.